Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and today we're going to do a comparison review between the Sony WF1000XM3s against the Klipsch T5s. Let's go ahead and check them out. So if you're considering the Sony XM3s and the Klipsch T5s as your next earbuds, you're going to want to watch this video, because in this comparison review, we're going to take a look at the audio quality. We're also going to take a look at all the features, battery life, transparency mode, if it exists, active noise canceling, and yes, we're going to do an EBPMAN style call quality test. So let's get right to it. Now first we'll take a look at battery life, and we'll talk about Sony. Sony looks at battery life in two ways. First of all, they look at active noise canceling on, and then they look at active noise canceling off. So we're going to first of all talk about active noise canceling on. You're going to get 6 hours. So with these, you'll get 6 hours of battery life, which is really great. And you can use these independently. That means that you can use one in one ear for 6 hours, put it back, take the other one and put it in your ear for 6 hours, and then put it back. Now the case is going to give you an additional 3 charges. So you can extend the battery life depending on, once again, how you use it, anywhere from 24 to 32 hours, which is like crazy good. Now, the Sonys also have a quick charge feature. So if you put them in the case for 10 minutes, you're going to get an hour and a half worth of battery life. So that's really good. But the Klipsch aren't that far behind. So the Klipsch, when you take a look at these, they're going to give you 8 hours of battery life. And they too have the ability to use them independently. So these don't have a slave and master mode. So what they're going to do is they're going to be connected, and then you'll be able to switch on and off which one you want to have. So again, 8 hours of battery use. Now the case is going to give you 24 hours of use. So it's a little bit lower than the Sonys, and that's kind of surprising because when you take a look at the case, it looks like the case for the Klipsch would have more charge, but you're going to get an additional 24 hours with the Klipsch. And the other thing is, if you do put your earbuds in the Klipsch case, you're going to get some quick charging technology as well. But in this case, 15 minutes. So it's going to be a little bit longer than the Sonys, but you're going to get 2 hours of battery life. Now taking a look at the cases, these cases are pretty neat. So both of these cases feature self-guiding magnetic technology. So you notice I'm going to put the earbud here and how it just glides in, and then it snaps in. So there you have connections based on magnets, and as I flip these over, they're not going anywhere. Close the case will stay locked because it's also magnetically sealed. You have USB-C in the back. This one does not feature wireless charging, but it does have the ability to support NFC for pairing. So that is the Sonys. As we take a look at Klipsch, I have to say, has the best looking case, and it's a premium feeling case. Stainless steel, looks like a Zippo lighter. When you open it up, you can see your earbuds. When you look over here, you have USB-C as well. No wireless charging, no NFC. So if you open it up, they're not going to fall out. And the earbuds themselves, as you place them in, they guide as well. So they have self-guiding, and they will lock in, and they will not fall out. You do have a fuel gauge here. So you have a 3-bar fuel gauge here. You have the color, and your earbuds light up when they're charging. I wish I had the fuel gauge. I actually prefer that. So from a case perspective, I'd say they're in equal footing, except that Klipsch takes it in style. I just really love the way this looks, and I also like the footprint. Now the Klipsch case, though, feels significantly heavier than the Sony one. So it's your choice. Let me know which case you prefer in the comment area below. Now as we take a look at Bluetooth capabilities, both of these earbuds feature Bluetooth 5.0. Neither of them though support multi-pairing technology, which drives me crazy. Now I can, as I mentioned, use these independently, and I can do the same thing with these. But what I found with the Klipsch is that the Klipsch actually take a little bit more time. Let me explain. So if I'm wearing the Sonys, as soon as I put them in my ear, and let's go ahead and put them in so you can see this for a second. And what we'll do is, so I have them in now. What I could do is I can put one of these away, and it's going to seamlessly continue to work. No pause, everything is working fine. It's, you know, it's like if I had an earpiece that I'm speaking with. Now, if I do the same thing with the Klipsch, so we'll grab the Klipsch right here and open them up. The Klipsch, you know, they have a different design, and we'll look at that in a second. I'll go ahead and put these in, and I'll put this one in. What ends up happening is, I mentioned that it doesn't really have a slave master. That's kind of accurate, but not so much so. What ends up happening is, when you're connected to your phone, you're going to see a Bluetooth signal connected to one earbud. It's going to be either left or right, and then that signal is shared with the other. But what happens is, once you put the earbud away like this and close it up, and that one turns off, the next one reconnects to your cell phone, and it basically then continues. Now, the thing about it is that it takes at least 3 to 5 seconds before that happens. You don't have that with the Sonys. Now from a look and feel perspective, we'll go ahead and take a look at these. I'll put this one in. As soon as you put them in, you're going to get a female voice telling you that the battery is fully charged. It's going to tell you, obviously your battery level, and it's the same voice that you have in the headphones. And this is what they look like. So I'm going to turn to the left, turn to the right, and if we want to shake, they're not going to come out. I've actually done a couple runs with these. They will not come out, especially if you have the right earpiece. They have great noise isolation. And as if we take a look at these again, what you'll notice is that it has a really interesting design. It is a little bit larger, as you can see right here. But as we look at the design, you'll notice that you have a really nice indicator of your right earbud. You'll have these sensors. So when you put these down, it will pause the music. If you take them, if you're listening to music, and when you put them back in, it will start up again. You have these contact points here, and this one, unlike the Sony, supports, or unlike the Klipsch, supports active noise canceling, and you can control everything just by tapping on the side. So no physical buttons. All you have are these little touch sensors right here that you'll be able to touch. So the earbuds feel great. Great noise isolation. And for those of you who are curious about, do they stay in sync with the music when you're watching YouTube, when you're watching Hulu, or if you're watching Netflix, I've had no issues with them at all. And they do bring a significant amount of gel pieces that you can switch in and out. So they're pretty solid. Now taking a look at the Klipsch, we'll open these up. The Klipsch is a little bit different. We'll take a look at one of the earpieces first. This one really goes into your ear canal. So you'll notice how it looks like right here, and I'll rotate this. You do have your left or right indicator, and this one actually has 2 mics. The Sony doesn't really go into a lot of detail into the mic array. So you actually have 4 mics on these. And the buttons themselves are physical buttons. So as you press them, they actually have like a clickiness to it. But at the same time, because it has a clickiness, you actually feel it pressing in, and we're going to see it for a second. So this is what the earpiece looks like, and what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and put one in our ear. I'll take this one and put it in my ear too. And now that they're in, they go pretty deep in, this is what they look like. Okay, so they're pretty solid, and they're not going to fall out either, so no worries there. What do you think about the profile, right? These are rounder. They have the big Klipsch logo on there, but they don't extend out. Which one do you think is better looking for you? Now, when we take a look at this, you'll notice that if I push these buttons, you notice how it goes in a little. So that may be uncomfortable for some of you, and it goes in deep because it really is going deep. Let's compare this to one of the Sonys. So let's bring out one of the Sonys really quick, so you can put them side by side. So I think that's going to be a good comparison. Look at the difference. How deep? We'll put them like this. How deep this one goes in. So this is a stub that's going to fill the outer portion of your ear and seal it. This one is going to go deeper in your ear canal, but then it also has a proprietary earpiece or gel that Klipsch has created. So that's the difference between the two. So this one is, is a lot deeper in your ear, so you have to think about, is that going to be comfortable for you depending on the size of your ear. They won't fall out either, and they work well. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention is the actual codec. So the Klipsch do support both aptX and AAC. However, the Sony has its own proprietary codec that it supports, but the quality, when we talk about audio quality, you'll see what the difference is. Now, from a call perspective, both of these are going to give you stereo call capabilities, and both of these you can use independently. I can actually use one earpiece for a phone call. I can use both for a phone call, and I could do the same thing with the Klipsch. The Klipsch work the same way. The only difference is, again, that with the Klipsch you have that pause, that period of time where one earbud, when it's put away, if it happens not to be the one that was connected via Bluetooth, the other one takes a couple seconds before it actually reconnects. But both of them you can use either in stereo mode or independently as well. Now, just to be clear and transparent about the kind of testing that I'm doing, the Klipsch doesn't have an app that allows me to adjust the EQ to be able to see what it can actually do beyond the standard factory settings. I also have not been able to update this to any firmware, so this has a standard firmware. Now, the Sonys, I'm in the same situation. What I did is I made sure that the settings for the audio are at the factory settings so that we can do an equal comparison when it comes to audio. So as we keep that in mind, and oh, by the way, Klipsch, I did contact them. They're going to have an app by the end of this month. And by the end of this month, that app could bring some features that we have not been able to test. So take a look at my playlist. These are some of the songs that I was looking at. So I looked at, the We've Just Met from Russ. I also looked at Midnight Blues, Sedona, and then who else? Oh yeah, Colorado. This is from Chastity Brown. So I took a look at each one of these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus specifically on UMI Midnight Blues. This song, if you play it, what you'll have is it starts out kind of scratchy at the very beginning, and then around a couple seconds in, you do get vocals and you get this thumping bass that comes in. And I'm telling you, it's a delight to listen to, just because I like the way that you have some instruments that start out, and then all of a sudden you get the vocals come in, and then some really heavy bass. And each one of these songs either start with music first, then vocals next, or vocals first, and then music, the instruments come in a little bit later with some high mids and lows that really exercise the actual earbuds really well. So as I compared these both, I'll say first of all, Sony has the broadest soundstage. You put these on, and I'm telling you, for me, it was like, do I have larger headphones on, because the sound quality is just so immersive. You have a really, really broad soundstage. Klipsch, don't get me wrong, especially for the Klipsch fans that are out there, they sound great, but it's not as immersive. It's not as broad. You don't have a really broad soundstage. It almost sounds like I have speakers in my ear. Now, keep in mind that I'm not saying that it sounds bad. You have bass, mids, and highs there, but it's not as punchy. It's not as throaty as I would say the Sonys are, and you don't get that immersive feeling. Again, you listen to these songs, if you were to just buy these, okay, if you were just to buy these and you were just to listen to these, you would think that they're amazing, and they are. But when you compare them to the Sonys, they can't compete. So I give it to the Sonys. Now next we'll talk about IP rating. From an IP rating, only the Klipsch have an IPX rating of 4. Sony doesn't have any IPX rating. I hope that maybe they update it. Maybe there is something they didn't tell us about, but there's no IPX rating, which means if you use these to run and you sweat profusely like I do, you run and use this at your own risk. The Klipsch win when it comes to IPX rating. Now the last thing we'll talk about is transparency mode before we do the call quality test. From a transparency mode, the Sonys have great transparency mode, and it's something that you can control easily just on one side, and you can cycle through active noise canceling on, active noise canceling off, where all you have is the passive noise canceling, and then you can actually turn on the transparency mode. And you have settings in the app that take you from 0 to 100% transparency. Now what I'll say about the transparency is that transparency is natural, but as you've heard in some of my other videos, I prefer transparency that amplifies as well. When I'm at 100%, I would like to have almost like human hearing. I want it to amplify a little bit. It stays 2 levels for me. So I'm not a fan of their transparency. I like how Sennheiser does their transparency. I also like how Klipsch does it, because it just enhances things. These don't perform to that degree, but for many of you that aren't really interested in that, if you want natural sounding transparency, then this is going to work. Klipsch, they may have it in their app, but we just don't know because we don't have the app yet. So next we're going to do a call quality test using the Klipsch T5, and as you can notice here, I have a decibel reading anywhere from 40 all the way up to 76 decibels as the highest rating. Now this is what the call quality would sound like when you have a phone call using the Klipsch T5. This is a test, 1, 2, 3, this is a test. What do you think about the call quality of the Klipsch T5 earbuds? Let me know in the comment area below. Alright, so now we're testing the Sony XM3s in a noisy call environment. So you can see that by my decibel readings that we have anywhere from 53 to 80 decibels. This is what the call quality would sound like when speaking to the Sony XM3s in a noisy environment. Let me know what you think about the call quality in the comment area below. This is a test, 1, 2, 3, this is a test. This is what the Sony XM3s would sound like in a noisy environment. So that concludes our comparison review of the Sony XM3s to the Klipsch T5. Which one do I pick? They're in my ear right now. And again, audio quality really rolls here. Call quality, let me know what you think in the comment area below. But again, let me know which one you would pick as your next earbuds. Love to hear from you.